Lens Night Sky is finally complete and is now out on Steam. I've covered this game before, and have struggled to figure out the best way to talk about it without repeating myself. There's just, so much to it. So, I decided to just kind of list some cool things I like about this game, sort of like a Cyber Show bonus video. If you want a more general overview of the game, you can watch my old Lens Night Sky video. The gameplay structure is still the same as it was in the trial, there's just a lot more content now. To give an idea of how absolutely unhinged Lens Night Sky is, take a look at Platformer mode. Lens Night Sky offers a bunch of optional challenge parameters to make the game harder or easier, and even has some achievements locked behind them. But quite possibly the funniest one is Reach the Skies. Lens Night Sky controls like a traditional Touhou game. In this mode, you are restricted to a double jump. In a shoot 'em up. You know, it's like Touhou 1, except more evil. But okay, there's fun you can have with silly features, but what about the actual game? I've talked about this before, but the way you capture spell cards is pretty interesting. Instead of getting them automatically by beating a boss without bombing or dying, you have to graze bullets from the boss to fill a meter. This means you have to engage with the pattern for longer than standard Touhou, which is neat. It's also why graze can be its own stat. It expands the graze box. Speaking of patterns though, one of the most insane is Kanei's final pattern in stage 4. It starts small at first, but then you see a stick figure build a house, and another house, and the resources keep gathering, and it's also, different every time. How is this a pattern? Well, the programmer Aeon made an entire simulation just to get this working, leading to a pattern that's not just wild for Touhou, but for a shmup in general. Oh, it also ends with this. The game's storytelling is quite different from other Touhou games. Most Touhou games have 1 or 2 bad endings. This game has over 30. Every time you game over on a stage, you get a unique ending for that character and that stage. There's even more bad endings for game overing to bosses. The idea is that even if you lose, if you make it farther, you're still rewarded with something new. It's a cool concept that also made the game a pain to translate. The story itself also goes in a pretty wild direction. The tagline of the game is, "I want you to go to the moon." And that does happen. But what happens at the moon is where things take a turn. When this game got its early access version, the fact that Yorihime was a boss was super shocking. A moon sister finally fightable in a Danmaku game? I think you know where I'm going with this. Touhou 20 also has a moon sister, but it's the other one, Toyohime. So between 2024 and 2025, we got one unofficial fight and one official fight for the siblings. It's a fun time to be a moon manga fan. Yorihime's fight involves her sword, of course, and both fights are really hard. Fittingly, while Zun's fight uses a remix of his moon sister theme, Lens Night Sky has a completely unique track, which you've been listening to. The game's structure is much different than other Touhou games. While there is a scoring system, it's nothing like the actual Touhou games. Instead, replayability is based on the randomization of runs through enemies and items. It's like if Touhou 18 and Touhou 18.5 went all the way. There's multiple stores per run, so there's chances to try out a bunch of different loadouts. Thanks to this game using a health system rather than one-hit death, there's some flexibility you can get in item effects. In one run, I got an item that constantly drained my HP, but healed it whenever I grazed. It was a neat risk and reward, and also paired really well with Yumeimi being a free graze box for Chiyuri. You can even buy shot types mid-run. My favorite shot type is probably the Gatling gun. It has a bit of a wind-up, but does insane damage. It requires you to keep reloading it by unshooting and shooting, so it changes your strategy a bit. Here's some items I got in a Reimu run. I ended up getting a bunch of orbitals, which resulted in 4 homing shots, Sakuya knives, and some smartphones. It's almost like an army, and to make it even more of an army, I got Alice's dolls to serve as proxy shots. So I guess I'll call this build Army of Death. That's certainly one type of build you can make, stats don't matter as much. Along the way, I also found one of the game's funniest items, the unstable Hakiro. This item is a shot type that flashes in and out, but the description says it works at just the right power. Well, if you're super deep into Touhou, you might know about a certain glitch in Touhou 10 with Marissa. Sure enough, get to 3 power, and it starts destroying. The issue? Well, if you go above 3 power, it sucks again. Oh, and as you might notice, you can combine shot types, so that's cool. Sometimes roguelikes have like one build that's just better than everything else. So the Lens Night Sky solution is kind of just to have multiple busted builds, and have a harder game to compensate. You'll be dodging like a madman, but it can all work out. Well, that's almost everything I can say without spoilers. Stages 6 and 7, have some of the most insane things ever. Like, Stage 6 is kind of what I expected, but I guarantee you will not predict what the final boss is. You might predict who, but not what. But I think I'll end the video by talking about 2 of my favorite things from the game. First bit, characters. The character choices in this game are pretty interesting. The fact Marissa isn't in it outside of mentions, a logo, and items is pretty bold. Using 2 outsiders also seems random at first, but it's important for the game's story. And since Chiyuri hasn't appeared that much, she gets to kind of be an OC, which is cool. It's also funny that, like, we have a lot of characters related to the moon or Gensokyo's lore. And then Ann's just there. Because, well, she's Ann. Who doesn't like Ann? But the second thing, replayability. So I mentioned the endings, but something I really dig is the achievement system. Doing challenges in the game unlocks new items. So even if you lose a run, you'll still be making progress. Some you'll probably get naturally as you get better, like not dying on a stage. But others, like not using a shop, you'll need to go out of your way to try. So you can choose to either just make direct progress towards the end of the game, or to get more items to try to make your journey easier. Or of course, do both. And then when you beat the game for the first time, you'll probably feel like something's missing. So I'll say this. It's not over after 1 clear. In fact, it's not even over after 2 clears. You'll need to beat the game multiple times to see everything. But since it's a roguelike, it won't always be the same. Well, that's some stuff I like in Lens Night Sky. You can get version 1.0 on Steam now. It's also got a free demo to try. Congrats to the dev team for finally getting this game out. I've seen what it's grown from personally in the past 4 years. If you check the game out, I hope you have fun.